Grace, what day is today?
Today is another day for discussing some really important topics for us.
Well, I want to play the game is where in the world are Grace and Karen today?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Grace is in Hawaii and Karen is in.
Michigan. Because I'm a Buckeye, I can't use the full word. We cross out the M.
Oh,
Mhm.
you're in Michigan. Okay.
Snow-packed Michigan.
Oh my gosh. You know
Coming
what? It
back,
is in the 80s here.
yours sounds better than mine. So we are talking about, I mean, we've talked about so much along the way, Grace, LLCs, forming a business, trademark, protection. But today is kind of a summary of the dark side of business, which is legal and protection and compliance, a combination of all of them. Because there's no point in building a business if you don't protect it.
Correct, correct. So we're going to be talking about, some of the legal things that are going on. We're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of E&O insurance. We're going to be talking a little bit about how to mitigate your risks, especially in today's environment, which a lot of things have changed. Just, with this NAR settlement and things like that, we need to be aware as agents of a lot of other implications that our words and our actions can take.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard a quote today and I thought it was really, really timely. So I'm going to read it to make sure I don't mess it up. Okay, ready? Entrepreneurs don't fail because of lack of opportunity, they fail because of avoidable risk.
Oh, that's a good one, Karen.
Absolutely. Growth exposes you, right? It's when you're messiest, is when you're in growth mode, and that's very stressful for people. And success, boy, this is true, magnifies liability.
Yes, yes. And I think along those lines, the faster we grow, we forget the systems that got us there, right? If you're busy, busy, busy doing all of this stuff, sometimes we forget the steps that we need to take that we've taken before as a new agent. Because, as a new agent,
You're scared.
yes, and we read the contract 25 times to make sure that we're not doing anything wrong. So, a lot of times, what I know as a fact is that a lot of claims against real estate agents are not made because of malicious errors or intentional errors. They're made because we've made a mistake, either in the paperwork or the way we explain something or things like that.
Or went too fast. I mean, I've bought bathtub reglazing because I have spoken too fast as an agent by saying, "Oh yeah, we can get that fixed." By we, that meant me liability wise. We are in a an industry in real estate and mortgage that words matter, right? Because the contract, like we know that contract inside and out, words matter. And setting the tone could be also advertising someone else's listing without permission or getting sued for a mistake on advertising. Like it can be as small as that, but those are small examples of much bigger exposure as you build and build and build your business. So what needs to happen to protect it?
Correct, correct. I think you're right. And I think other things that we need to watch out for, especially because, you're right, words matter, right? If we told someone, if, for instance, in Savannah, a lot of people want short term vacation rentals, right? And if we said, oh, yes, it's easy to get this license, or it's easy to do this, or buy it and then we'll figure out how to do it. As soon as you put yourself in that position, you could have a happy buyer. They go in, they close, and then they can't get that short-term vacation license. Guess who's going to be liable? Not that you did it intentionally, because maybe the agent did think it was going to be an easy process, right? Or you thought, or whatever the circumstances are, we need to be very, very careful the way we position our words and the way we write our contracts. And here, I always tell people you need to check yourself. You need to go, into the county website, you need to call the city, you need to do all the stuff to protect yourself as a buyer, because they can use me as a resource to give them the resources where they need to go and do the checking. Because I think that opens us up to a lot of miscommunication and unintentional misrepresentation of a property.
Right. Which, if you think about the NAR settlement, it was one seller. It all started with one seller in Missouri and turned into this monster. And now there's attorneys and firms that are specifically looking for holes or gaps of our mistakes so they can make money off it.
Yeah. And I think, Karen, I mean, and I'm not really sure. I mean, you probably have a lot, I know you probably have a lot more experience in this than I do, but I would think that right now, the way we explain compensation is very, very important. The way we say it is, the negotiability of our commission, the way we explain that, not only in our contracts, but the way we verbally talk to someone about something, we have to be very clear and very precise, because I really do feel that that area of miscommunication is going to be growing bigger. As people say, wait a minute, you didn't explain that to me, or I didn't know that, or how are you getting paid now? I think that that's going to be a big area.
You're right. And explaining the same way, the same time, like in the same cadence, exactly the key points. That's how you can not get sued for discrimination or something. Like you told one person one thing, innocent mistake, and you didn't tell someone else, like that could leave you exposed.
Yes, yes. So let's talk a little bit, Karen, about E&O insurance. I know that we all have it. Let's talk a little bit about that and what that actually covers.
Well, errors and omissions insurance is something where an agent made an error or they omitted some information. It is, it cannot be used to compensate. It has to be exactly what the mission is for. If I made an error on a mistake, well, first of all, I'd never fill out a disclosure for a client. That's their disclosure to fill out. Like, take the mature stance and do the right thing and make sure the liability is off you. You are there to provide information. So if there is, I mean, I get claims, knock on wood, I've never paid a claim in all these years in my offices. We have really good compliance, but it is insurance to remove liability from the agent themselves and have the brokerage carry it based on how many units are sold and how much business they do. And so you have to have it as a liability to be careful. Just like if you have a contractor in your home and you want to make sure they have liability insurance, that if they get injured, it doesn't go on your insurance. Is like, who's going to pay, right? And who's going to have my back?
Yes, and we have to be clear. E&O insurance is not for intentional fraud. It's not for anything that you do intentionally. It's for a miscommunication or something that you've done in good faith, right? And anybody
Hmm.
can sue for anything. So I think the important part of this is that E&O is going to cover us even if we've done nothing wrong, right? It'll cover our
Hmm.
attorney's fees and court fees, because people will sue you for, I mean, probably just about anything. So we need to be very clear that E&O insurance is not for intentional misrepresentation, but something that we may accidentally do or say that
Hmm.
is misconstrued. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
That's how I see it, but it's to protect the brokerage, not necessarily the agent. It's the brokerage license that's insured. The agents are licensees under the brokerage.
So
This
let
is
me ask
just
you
soda
this.
water. I just want to point that out. It's just soda water, everyone.
So let me ask you this. So we're talking about brokers being covered, right, with E&O
Mhm.
insurance. What about people? What about our LLCs, our individual LLCs?
That is a big missed opportunity is to have insurance on it. So every business that I own, I have business insurance. So I have wire fraud insurance because I have been scammed that way. I have sexual harassment insurance, right? Because you could have someone in your car and there could be a misconstrued thing, right? You could be in an open house. I mean, anything is possible, right? Have people, because it would be different to every person. I have just regular general liability insurance, business insurance, right? Because insurance to me is important. If I'm going to build, if you have over $100,000 in revenue, so whether it's commissions or sales or whatever that looks like, 100,000 in income, you have to protect your assets. We say that every time, assets. And uh, and we oftentimes miss thinking that we have to have insurance with our corporation, which does not cost a lot, but it is really, really important to have because if you get sued, right, it's a cost of doing business. When you're in business long enough, it really is that it's going to happen. I've had one legal issue in 10 years and I'm still paying for it today, right? And had I had the proper insurances, I probably wouldn't be paying for it today. So there's that.
Yeah, and so what I want everybody to know is we're going to get more in depth in this because I know that there is a big difference between what Karen has said, like sexual harassment insurance and all the differences. We all have, like, I have it, my husband and I have an umbrella policy which covers a lot, but doesn't cover specifically for what Karen is talking about. So in the future, we're going to talk to experts in that area who can give us specific information of what kind of insurance we should carry as an agent, as a property manager, as whatever else that we, because as the rain circle is all of us know, there's an ability for us to earn money in a lot of different aspects of real estate. It's not just selling a house. So we need to kind of know every single way to protect ourselves and protect our businesses, because there's no reason growing all of these businesses if someone can take it away like that, which is what can happen.
I was a client, you know about this situation, but it's been years where an agent pulled the wrong square footage from the wrong source. It wasn't a verifiable source. It wasn't one of the state promulgated sources. There's four sources in this market, and they pulled it from the wrong source. It appraised visually the clients. I had the listing, it was my house. The buyer saw it, and we had four offers. The appraisal came in. The agent didn't pull it from the right source. They didn't pull it from a verifiable source. I lost $52,000 on like a $120,000 house, right? Because the buyers were going to pay 180 for it, 189, and we ended up selling it for 130 something because when the appraisal went out, right? Like that was just not knowing or not using your broker or not getting trained properly. Not disclosing a water or an insurance claim or something like that will get everybody sued, right? If there's been damage to a home, or inaccurate walking to a train or walk to this. Well, that could really injure a lot of people could be affected because that's subjective. Maybe I could walk there, but a person who is not as able-bodied as I am is able to walk there.
School systems are another big thing, right?
Mm,
If you think, if for your client a school system is very, very important, and they're on the, even if they're not on the edge of the line, you have to make sure that you know that you can't say, oh, this is an XYZ school system, because if it changes or it gets redrawn, whatever
it
that
has
district
happened in
is.
my market.
Yes, and that's a
Mhm.
really kind of real life situation that we have to know that we cannot be the end all of everybody's information. We need to direct our clients. Here is where you kind of look so that you can find out where the school system line is, where the bus line is it walkable to the cafes? I mean, all of that kind of stuff. I know it kind of sounds scary, and that, or that we don't want to provide our clients a lot of information, but we really can only be like the middle person, right? We cannot be the end all of everything because it's very litigious out there.
When in doubt, say, let me check on that and get back to you. I learned that's the Disney way, right? Let me check on that and get back to you. Do not know all the answers. Don't be a know it all because you will end up paying for it later. Like as we get deeper into the program, then we're going to give strategies, disclosure lists, checklists, things like that. Because if you're doing the same thing with every system, I'm a chair on professional standards committee, right? I sit on these panels. And if I know that they did something the same way every single time, right, then there's much less liability to find gaps in the way you do business. Like success is boring, but systematizing is so very important. Is I give every client this. Like I had an agent, they tried to sue through the state, through everything because they said discrimination. They'd never met this agent. So how is there like they'd never even met them. They'd never had like it was just a random people trying to gain something from suing, right? But because she dots her I's and crosses her T's, it was thrown out.
Now, Karen, let me just throw this also out there. You're talking about systems and how to do things. So one of the things that I was, reading a little bit ago, because all of us use our phones for everything, right? All of us use our phones. So one of the things that I was kind of surprised by is that one of the ways to mitigate our damages is never, ever, ever to use our phone gallery as somewhere to store client information, like pre-approval letters, like if you ask for a driver's license before going and seeing an open house, anything like that, if it's on your photo gallery, which is not secured, you cannot do that. So I want to make sure, I mean, even little things like that, like you're saying, Caryn, the little things that we need to, dot our I's and cross our T's. We need to be very, very careful, especially now that all of this is changing. So that's one big hint that I got. Oh, don't store things on a photo gallery, because I've done it. I mean, I take screenshots of a lot of stuff.
Oh, I take screenshots of everything, but that makes sense on the mortgage side. They don't allow you to do that. Like it's you can't even do it, take a screenshot on your phone, even though it's my phone, because of security. Like when I have a different lens of a very secure corporation with mutual, that I'm like, oh, that's why they're doing it this way. That's why like they're so heavy on security because they have to be, because of the very, very important client information. And if we managed our business that way, that would be very, very beneficial, especially to be able to explain that to a client.
Yes, yes. Because as agents, I mean, we really do deal with a lot of personal information from our clients, right? They trust us with, pre-approval letters. I mean, even if you tell someone, do not send me proof of funds with account numbers on there, they still sometimes do it. I mean, we deal with a lot of really personal information that makes us the gatekeepers and makes us, I mean, I wish we had more training as to like mutual does it, right? I mean, all this is secure. You need to tighten up all these securities. We don't. So I think that that's going to be a really good upcoming seminar, is what we do to make sure that we are airtight when it comes to all our clients' information.
It's true. Well, you think about anything with secure data. So a mortgage application, it's through their app, right? It's all encrypted and secure. Or a financial or a bank, right? What you can be able to do on a bank. Like take a look at the business behind the business and how they're running that. Other protection tools, which I love, confidentiality agreements is really important. An NDA could be, right, as an agent, if you're working with high profile clients, it's an expectation and a standard that you're going to sign one. But I have people sign them too when I am exploring ideas or masterminding, right? No matter if I trust them or not, a contract or a document like this protects the relationship. It doesn't hurt it because now there are no questions left on the table. There just aren't. A non-solicit, non-compete, if allowed by states, but not a lot of states don't allow them. And an IP ownership, which we talked about intellectual property a few weeks ago and how important that is as well. And then what Mo Anderson taught me, it's also about the exit strategy. If you have someone on your team and who owns what, and every agreement, whether it's a partnership or corporation, there should, just like a purchase contract, how you get out of it, right? There should always be an exit strategy as well.
Yes, and that, I think that that's what one of our attorneys said, right? When you go into a partnership, it's like a
Mhm.
happy marriage. You get very, very happy. We're going to do this. We're going to split everything. But always in that contract, you have to have like a divorce. What happens if we get a divorce? And it's the easiest way to do it is at the very beginning, is to protect everybody's interests. Say, this is how we come into this partnership, and this is how we'll dissolve this partnership. So that's another, I mean, that's another thing that we can get really in depth with, because I think that that's very important for all of us to look at our businesses and our partnerships as businesses, and how to like make sure that we're in it together correctly, and how we exit with grace.
No pun intended.
I know, I should have said that.
I love
I know.
it. We got to come up with like a snazzy out with that. Um, and thinking about what clauses do protect you. Like there are sellers suing agents right now that they don't feel that every offer was presented because a would-be buyer had gone to the seller after and said, I would have paid more for that home. Now there might be the terms, but like a missed offer, or like, are you tracking that? I mean, there are so many ways. We are in such a litigious society right now, and there are attorneys that are dying to get your business, literally like ambulance chasing attorneys in every factor, because they saw what happened with Steitzer Burnett. They're looking, like Department of Justice is investigating, and there are scare tactics that are scaring you. So being with a brokerage that has a good record or good compliance, but you also as a corporation building your own, you're the CEO of your business, and having that protected as well. Ask your company, what liability insurances do you have, right? And ask them, and then go get it for your corporation as well. It's worth every penny to have that. information.
And like I said, we're going to have specific um, information on companies that do this for y'all because that's very, very important for all of us to cover every part of our business. And one of them, like you said, is all of these insurances that seem overwhelming, but they're really not. And they're not that expensive. Like I don't know how much we pay for our umbrella policy, but we're covered for like $5 million because of the properties that we have or something, and it's not that expensive. It really
No,
isn't.
mine's not either. Mine's not either.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that is an umbrella policy is probably a great way to wrap it up because that is a generic something that will protect your personal assets as well. So, um, and something else to consider too, make sure on your insurance policies, your homeowner's policy, your car policy, that if you have your business, your stuff in a trust, or that you name your LLC as an additional insured, because insurance companies are not wanting to pay out on the claims if they'll say, oh, well, your home, Grace, is under a trust and your trust wasn't named as an insured, so we're not going to cover this.
Correct. Correct.
That's
Yeah, they're
crazy
in
to
the
me, but
business of
it's
not paying. Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, this has been another really good, quick session, and we cannot wait to go more in
That's
depth with
overwhelming.
everybody. Huh?
It can feel overwhelming even for me when I have these insurances. So I understand how many people might feel, but like we're able to break it down, right? By chunk, one thing at a time. Like our number one job here is to help break down what seems overwhelming for you to get to the other side of what it is that you want.
Yes, yes. And we're going to do it together step by step because the lessons that Karen and I have learned over very many years, we want to make sure that none of you have to learn the hard way the way we did. So thank you again for joining us. Yes, yes,
It costs money.
it does. It does. We can't wait to see everybody and join the newsletter because we're going to have other information on there for everybody. And we can't wait to see you next week.
See you next week, Grace.
Bye bye.